Have your friends, your coworkers, family members told you to file for Social Security right away because it won't be there for you? Here's the facts you need to know if Social Security is going to run out of money and what they're going to do about it. So you're concerned about Social Security running out of money. Here's the facts you need to know. I'm going to go over 5 possible changes that you could see with Social Security and to make it more solvent. Back in 1983, Social Security Administration passed an amendment. One thing was to start taxing Social Security back in 1984. We already had an episode on that. But part of that amendment also was to increase the full retirement age, which we call that when you're 100% benefit. So when Social Security was put into place in 1937, started in 1938, 65 years old was a 100% benefit. Well, that was all the way up until 1983. They passed an amendment, and then they put a new date in there to people start living longer. So they start postponing the full retirement age based off the year you're born. So they did it in increments from 65 all the way up to age 67, and that still stands today since 1983. So if you're born in 1960 or later, your 100% benefit, which we call your FRA, full retirement age, is age 67. So there has not been a lot of changes on Social Security for a while. But the trustee report shows Social Security should be solvent for the next 11 to 13 years. Between 2033, 2035, they project the trust fund to run out of money. So what are the things they're looking to do to make it more solvent? Number one is, we're going to start from the least likely to the most likely, okay? So number one, I believe, is cutting benefits. Nobody's a really big fan of that, but if they run out of money in the year 2033 to 2035, somewhere in that category, if they don't make changes, we could lose as much as 25% of your benefit, which could be very significant. So if your benefit is $2,500 a month and they don't make changes, and because it's lacking funds in that, you could lose $625 of your benefit, drop it down to $1,875. Especially in retirement, you're on a fixed income, that can be very impactful. The second one is earnings cutoff. So if you're a high income earner, if you're making $147,000 or higher, after $147,000, they no longer take Social Security out of your paycheck, out of your payroll. So right now you're funding your Social Security. 6.2% out of your paycheck goes to fund your Social Security, but also if you're an employee, your employer is matching that at 6.2%. So that's 12.4% is going into Social Security. Now, the reason they put a cutoff at $147,000 is because there is a maximum benefit. In 2022, your maximum benefit is $3,345 at your full retirement age. Just say that's 66 and 2 months. You cannot get more than $3,345 in the year 2022 if you're full retirement age. So it's not fair in a sense. I'm an NFL fan, so let's just say, the top maybe 15 quarterbacks at NFL are making $35 million a year or more. Let's just say $35 million. And if they were funding 6.2% into Social Security of that $35 million, that's $2,170,000 in a year that goes into Social Security. Then the teams, the employer would have to match that at $2,170,000, which means $4,340,000 would be funded in 1 year for Social Security. They'll never get that in their lifetime because there's a maximum benefit. So that's why they put that maximum benefit of $147,000, and that changes year by year. It goes up a little bit each year. So it doesn't matter if you made $147,000 or you made $35 million, you're going to get the same benefit. But what they might do is raise that ceiling from $147,000 to a higher limit, or possibly even put a wealth tax for singles, up to $250,000, or couples up to $500,000 to get more money into the program. Number 3 is means testing. They already do that with Social Security Medicare Part B premiums. So the more money you make, the more money you pay for those premiums. You might be paying double the premiums if your income is higher. You don't get better benefits, you just pay more. But when they look at possibly changing this with Social Security, they're looking at means testing as your income. If you have higher income in retirement, they're going to look at possibly you might not need as much Social Security. They might take part of your Social Security away if your income is high. They might take all of it away if your income is high in their eyes. So means testing is not very popular, but remember, they're already doing that with Medicare. That could possibly happen here with Social Security. The fourth one is probably getting me probably more realistic is raising taxes. They've been talking about this for years. Again, like you said, I said earlier, 6.2% goes to fund Social Security, and so does your employer match that as well. They're talking about raising that another 2 to 3%. So that would be split between you and employer. Let's just say 1.5% more for the employee, 1.5% more for the employer, so about 3% more. And they believe they can fund this indefinitely if they raise the taxes. Now we're looking at not 12.4%, but about 15% for Social Security. I'm not a fan of that, raising more taxes, but that could be a possibility. And lastly, we're looking at increase the full retirement age. As I stated earlier, the last change was 1983 to change the full retirement age because people are living longer. This is going to be more realistic. I think the most realistic option to make it more solvent. Again, right now, if you're born in 1960 or later, your full retirement age is 67. Most likely, they're going to be changing that. So we'll put a chart up here so you can see this is what the previous full retirement age dates are when your 100% benefit would be. And it stops at 67. But now you could probably expect to see 67 in 2 months, 67 in 4 months, and so on. Get to 68, probably get to 69, might even expand it as high as to age 70. So there might be age 70 for some. It could happen to be your 100% benefit. Another thing that could happen as well is the start date. It might not be as early as 62. It might get pushed to 63 or 64, depending on your birthday, maybe even 65, depending on how old you are, what year you were born. But people are living longer than they ever used to. So you have to understand that the life expectancy today is so much higher than it was 20 years ago, 40 years ago, 70 years ago, roughly over 70 when this was implemented. So these are just some of the options. Most realistically is going to be taxes. Full retirement age increase is most likely coming our way. When should we expect that? Time will tell, but most likely in the next year or two, I could see these changes coming into play. If you have any questions, concerns on this, please reach out to us. We'd be glad to help you out on this. Any questions, concerns you have, please hit that subscribe and click that like button if this was good information. If you want to have more information on a topic like this, please reach out and we'll give you some good information on this. Thanks for watching.